All right, welcome back. North American College Championship Round 10, live from Seattle, Washington. I'm Evans Clincy, joined by Mike Frentz, and we're getting ready to watch what's going to be a fun game, I bet. Kolton Koehler playing Pete Armstrong. Mike, what do you think?
I've played with Peter a lot. He used to be a Bay Area denizen several years ago, back when you could have made the argument that the Bay Area and not Portland was the strongest Scrabble area in the country. Words, Mike, you know them, use them. Um, but yeah, Peter is of course a very strong player. Kolton, we haven't seen too much of recently, but um, he's the one person I always have Words with Friends games going with. So
Nice.
so he is clearly keeping in touch with word games, and uh,
And he's
as
doing
shown
well
by
in
his
this tournament.
performance.
He's 7-2, so
Yeah, so clearly he has not lost his touch either.
certainly not. Yeah, he's been playing quite a bit, I think, kind of in the local Portland scene. I think last time Kolton and Pete played each other was probably at a local pub in Portland over a couple of beers. But now they're playing at a championship event, so that'll be a little bit of a different vibe for them. And their fellow Portland Scrabble buddy Conrad is pacing around behind them, watching. It looks like, as you can see on Colton's camera. Conrad, of course, will be doing the broadcasting for the afternoon session later, so you guys can look forward to seeing him broadcasting rounds, if I can count numbers, 13 through 16. There we go.
And
Mike, you know words. I know numbers. We know everything between the two of us.
yeah, Conrad and if memory serves, it will be Sam back in this chair for the afternoon.
That sounds. Oh, do I not get to commentate with Sam? That's a bummer. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we had Conrad and Sam Rosen yesterday afternoon, and then I think maybe we have Conrad and Sam again. That sounds probably right. It's not you, and it's not me, and it's not Will. It must be Sam. Okay. All right, we're getting underway here, and Kolton has drawn menuing. Like if you're at a restaurant looking at the menu. I'm just kidding. That is not a word at all. What's the best play with a rack of menuing? Let's see here. This might be one of those racks where there's an interesting choice between opening short versus opening long. You could play a longer word like gunmen, which would be 22, or a shorter word like just mun for 10, keep a better leave. Kind of a close call there.
Yeah. Looks like he's trying to middle the difference with Munge.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Munge would score 22, right? So same score as Gunmen, pretty similar idea there. And IN a certainly reasonable leave. Looks like Pete has opened with a bingo on his rack. If you're a fan of Star Wars or Back to the Future, maybe you're familiar with the word trilogy.
It looks like whatever Kolton played, it was going to have a home.
True. Yeah, look at that. All right, so Munge does come down, 22-0. Kolton takes the lead, but that lead will not last for long. Oh, actually, there's a better word available than trilogy. And Pete spots it right away. Very nice. Through the E and Munge, he's got Gyro Light for 89. So monster bingo for Pete early. He leads 89-22.
But that lead will also be short-lived.
As Kolton has the finest draw you can have of finest plus a blank.
So just doing a quick score comparison. If you can find a double-double through either the U or the L, that's going to be 90.
Yep.
Anything on the top row to the G that doesn't double the F is going to score less than that.
That is correct. Yeah. So there are two double doubles through the L. See if anybody in chat can spot a double double with finest plus L blank there. There are a couple.
Okay, I've spotted one.
Yeah, so the answers are inflates and inflects. Very similar words there. Almost the exact same letter order, different blank. But this is kind of a position where you got to slow down and take your time and look for plays because there's all sorts of options. It looks like he's put his letters in the right order for inflects. Okay. So inflex is coming down, and Kolton's going to retake the lead right away. 112 to 89. All right, so we're going to have pairings for round 11 coming up in a little bit. If anybody in chat wants to help us pick a matchup, maybe I'll give like a – actually, hold on a second. Let me make sure. Okay, so we have a few options to choose from here. We could do Kolton on stream again against Dave Wiegand. We could do Brad Whitmarsh against Joel Wapnick. We could do Austin versus Quinn James. I'll give you those three options. Kolton and Bing, Joel and Brad, Austin and Quinn. And if anybody has a preference, you can shout it out. I think any of the three would be a great matchup. Physics is Fun wants to see Conrad versus Evans. You know who doesn't want to see that is Evans because he is rusty as all get out at Scrabble. All right, we got a vote for Wapnick and a vote for Kolton. An entirely unbiased voter named Koehler BP22 says Kolton.
Meanwhile, Peter has joisted on this rack, which does not appear to play.
Oh, wow. Looks like both players have drawn bingos after their bingos. Oh. So both Habitu and Joisted do play on this board, but you got to find a tricky little hook that is not obvious at all. Munge takes an E in the front for E Munge. Nice job by Sidewinder to spot that one. And so, Pete is going to have first crack at finding E Munge. And if he finds it, he's going to take a big lead. But if he misses it, then Kolton's going to have a chance to find E Munge and take a big lead. So I think when we had Will Anderson on stream yesterday, he was referring to positions like this as just a straight word knowledge check. Like, do you know the word? You're in luck. If not, it's a problem. CDB in chat saying, like, either one of them totally could know it. Will was also saying when we had one of those word knowledge check type positions yesterday that with each passing second on the clock that goes by, you got to become more and more worried that the person doesn't know the word, because if Pete does know and see the word E-Munge, it's pretty obvious that Joyce-Sid and E-Munge is the best play, and you should just play it quickly. But if time keeps passing and he's not playing quickly, that makes you a little bit nervous.
Makes you think that he might be going through whatever his process is of recalling words to see if he remembers whether it's good or not. It might be not automatic because it's a 5 to make 6 that doesn't come up very often, but it could be him going through, like, where have I seen this? Was it in what context was it? Am I just making this up?
Mm-hmm. There's some speculation in chat that Kolton does see the hook. CBB says he's giving off a vibe of being ready to go, like he's ready to play it. It's also worth noting that Kolton's the one who played Munge in the first place, and typically when you play a word, you're kind of mindful of what hooks it takes as you're playing it. Mm-hmm. So maybe that gives Kolton an advantage in being more likely to see the hook. If Pete does not know or see E-Munge, then it's going to be a pretty big equity hit. Joyce-Sid is 95, and other players are 95. yeah, Joy is 29. Oh, and he does play Joy. All right, so Joy comes down for 29.
And Habitue is coming down immediately.
Oh, nice job by Kolton. He does see it, and that's a big bingo.
And I suspect he might get an extra nickel out of it.
Or he'll just get Pete kicking himself like, oh my God, I can't believe I missed it. Looks like Kolton is holding, not drawing any tiles at the moment. Oh, it looks like okay. I think That might have just been a spite hold, like, I'm mad that I didn't see that. Or is Kolton courtesy drawing? I'm not sure.
I think he
Looks like
started. I mean, he is at least courtesy drawing, but
okay. In any event, the word's good. It's staying on. The only question is whether Kolton gets 5 more points. Yeah, seeing physics in chat saying, Pete's like, how did I miss this on camera? Exactly. I think Pete knows the word. He's just annoyed at himself that he didn't think of it. Oh, no, he is challenging. Okay. Seeing the tiles come down from the rack. And I think they're going to walk to the challenge computer across the room there.
and for a play that scores as many points as that does, if you're not 100% sure, it's worth investing the 5 points to find out.
Very true. All right, so Habitu is going to count for 85 plus 5, a monster bingo, 90 total. And Kolton's lead is 202 to 118 once we get the plus 5 in there. And now we get to see what Kolton drew, and it's not that good. Bunch of vowels with a W.
And meanwhile, Pete's fish does not appear to have worked.
Never great when you fish 2 tiles and draw IW.
And the ends are in the wrong spot for windiest, which is the bingo with the rack.
Sad. So it looks like the best play here is wide, WIDE, to the right of Habitu for 40 points.
Yeah.
Could also play Iwi in that spot, but that's a lot fewer points, only 30 instead of 40. And yeah, wide's the best play, and he's going to play it pretty quickly. Of course, Kolton would have loved to play Iwi there, given his rack. IWI looks like a good 3 tiles to get rid of.
Is there a good spot for Owie to get out of this?
Didn't think of Owie. That's a good point. So he's got Owie, AEI. All right. Well, here's a Collinsy word. There's Owrie, OWRIE, through the R in Gyrolite. That's a nice little overlappy play that scores well. Looks like Kolton has arranged Owie on his rack, but does he see Owrie? Yes, CDB, you are 2 seconds ahead of me because my internet is lagging by 2 seconds. It's not that you're 2 seconds smarter. You just have 2 seconds better internet, okay? Getting trolled in chat by my co-director again.
Looks like Owrie is coming down. And Pete appears to have hit his fish, or rather drawn into a reasonably scoring bingo here.
Ooh, nice.
Are we seeing anything better than sadistic through that S?
Very nice, sadistic. Sick find commentator, says CBB in chat. Yeah, sadistic is the only bingo here. Beautiful if you can spot it. And I'll bet you Pete can. He's pretty good with these bingos. Meanwhile, Kolton has drawn Illyria, which I don't think plays. And of course, sadistic is hard to overlap with that C at the bottom of it. It looks like an unplayable bingo situation for Kolton, unfortunately for him. Illyria is one of those words where if it doesn't play, your next best play is going to be pretty weak because you have so many vowels you got to play through. So sadistic is going to be 80 points if Pete finds it. And it looks like he is arranging the letters. Yep, there we go. And Illyria is not happening. Oh, there is one very pretty board vision play, if you can spot it. A disconnected word through the G and the S of Gyrolite and sadistic. If you want to just blow up the rack and score 27, you can play Girasol. Not necessarily the best play, but it's pretty.
Yeah. There's also plays through the sea, something like Okria or something along those lines.
You can play Eseal, Aecial, as well.
Aesial, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I can't say words. Eseal, yeah, that. If you really want to go for a better leave, you could just play Chow, just play IAO and keep the leave of AELR, but that's a bit of a point sacrifice. So Pete getting a sip of his coffee here. Might need a little caffeine boost to come back in this game.
I don't think the score's updated.
Oh, that's my bad. Pete is not coming back in this game. Pete's ahead by 5 points. There we go. I just refreshed the score. And there we go. 238, 233 is correct. My bad.
Chow comes down for 18.
Okay. So Kolton does try to prioritize the high-quality leave of AELR. Interesting choice. I mean, it's not the most bingo-friendly board. Sometimes I try to maximize score instead of leave when I don't feel like my bingos are gonna play, or even if they do play, they don't score very much.
Yeah, there is that, and also AELR is the sort of leave that can blow up in your face pretty easily because the L and the R are anti-synergistic enough that oftentimes you'll draw a duplicate of them or draw a third consonant that doesn't go with them, and suddenly the play you were hoping for doesn't come to pass.
So Kolton kept AELR and he drew HOV. Not exactly the draw he was looking for, I don't think. Doesn't have the U for overhaul.
Or the I for Halyerov.
Nice, yeah.
There's also apparently over Hail, but that doesn't appear to play either.
Unfortunate. So yeah, the score on your screen right now is updated. It is a 31-point deficit now for Kolton. Pete scored very nicely there with Vixen, which was clearly the best play, scoring 44 for the lead. But this has been another just really nice back and forth kind of game. We had that last round with Dave Wigan and Austin Shin until it kind of fell apart for Austin later in the game. But a couple of nice back and forth contests here. I had the misfortune yesterday morning of watching mostly blowouts, but this has been a pretty entertaining morning so far here on day 2. The Adam in the chat asks, are we playing half-board Scrabble? Apparently we are. The bottom half of the board is off limits to these players for some reason.
Let's see. I'm trying to come up with a way to use the row 2 spot, putting the H above the E and getting across to that triple. I'm not seeing anything that does it offhand.
Yeah, well, neither is the computer, so you're probably just not going to find one then. Yeah, it looks like just HOA, just HO in that spot is the best play, at least in terms of like Quackle static value. There's nothing better. Well, that's one of those like prioritizing leave rather than points kind of plays. You could score more points. If you want to play in the top left corner, you could play
Halo.
Halo. Oh, and that's what he's doing. Okay. I was going to say Halo is an interesting play. It scores really well, but it also opens up that OB spot. OB taking front hooks of DJLMR. A lot of things that could hit you there.
And he has one of them.
There you go.
And as it happens, not only does Pete not have any of those tiles, he doesn't have any vowels.
True.
So he quickly exchanges 6 consonants, keeping the K, presumably for the spot
I didn't see the
EA.
consonants. Did you see what the consonants were?
An F and a P and a couple of N's and
I think it was like DKG maybe.
Yeah.
Anybody in chat can tell me the racket. I'm guessing it was DFGKNNP. But
That sounds right.
yeah, physics in chat pointing out that fank is a word, F-A-N-K. You could score 22 rather than exchanging. But looks like Pete rather quickly goes with the exchanging option. Also, he kept the K and he traded 6?
Yeah.
Interesting choice. He must have a reason to prioritize that K.
As I said, something like KO might play at 6N for a decent score.
That's true. Okay. As long as he doesn't think Kobe is a word.
Kolton, meanwhile, has drawn the second blank, but a rack that doesn't have an obvious bingo.
Doesn't have an unobvious one either. He has no bingo. Okay, so yeah, tough position here for Kolton. He has the blank, but he can't bingo with it. You see his posture there. He's got his head buried in his hands. He's thinking really hard. You can tell. He's thinking bingo, 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 but unfortunately there is none. All right, getting word in the chat that DFGKNNP is confirmed. That was Pete's rack. Okay. So yeah, interesting choice to exchange, keeping the K rather than playing a word. Something like fank was an option. And Pete's drawn interestingly. He's got the Q and a U to go with it.
On a board that doesn't really accommodate that all that well.
True. Huh. Yeah, it looks like Adam in chat is saying, just play safe, take the 21 points if you're Kolton here. I think that's the best play, and I think Kolton will eventually choose it. But it's hard to confirm that there's no bingo. You got to look really carefully.
Setting up Ova maybe to play Nova, try to open up more space since he knows he's likelier to be able to make use of it than Pete, whose rack is essentially random.
True. Yeah, so Kolton definitely choosing plays that prioritize good leaves in this game. I mean, he did that with Chow. He's doing it again with Nova. 6 points less than save, but he really wants to have an E instead of an O.
And particularly, I think, wanting to avoid the AO anti-synergy that frequently arises. And
interesting for the board. I mean, there's the big spot on the left next to Obe, but not a ton of other places to play high scoring plays or bingos or really just anything good. So Nova is going to swing things pretty wide open all of a sudden. And I guess Kolton holding that blank feels like it's the right time to do that.
It's going to give Pete a decent bailout with Quark.
Yep. Quark keeping LOT seems pretty reasonable. And Kolton's rack has become crazed. Absolutely crazed, I tell you.
Which is going to play on that left side for a bundle hooking Clad and Robe. And Quark does come down.
Quark does come down. Update from the directing table. We've decided that we will go ahead and have Kolton here on table 1 again next round. So we're going to have Kolton against Dave Wiegand in round number 11 for all you Kolton fans out there. There were at least 2 of you, including, it looks like, a brother. So enjoy, Kolton's brother. All right, so Quark does come down, and the score should update on your screen soon. It'll be 318 to 301 in favor of Pete. Wow, all sorts of fun options here for Kolton.
And he decides to burn the blank for
Zoaya. 97 points. He also could have played Crazed on the left side, forming Robe for 71, keeping the blank. Just an embarrassment of riches. The candidate moves here for Kolton. He goes with the super high scoring one, 97 points for Zoaya.
and keeps the possibility of some CR play down to that triple on the next turn as well.
Yeah, because he still does have the clad and robe hooks. Yep. So the score is 398, 318. Colton's opened up a pretty big lead all of a sudden. And not sure what Pete can do about it with this rack. You can make up a phony of apt total. Or you can play a valid word. It's aptotic, not apt total.
Maybe just something like QAT to reopen that section of the board.
Yeah. There's 5-letter words from the K in Quark. There's Kalpa and Cattle, scoring either 36 or 30. Those are not the easiest words to know or spot. Looks like Pete is lining up Platt. I'm not sure. Oh, there's a chance that Pete thinks that Zoil is a word. It is not. Interesting note by CBB there in the chat that he might play Zoil and Platt for 0. Zoaya takes hooks of E and S, but not L.
That's
Definitely don't want to lose a turn here.
Yeah, that's one of those things that feels almost impossible to keep straight.
Yeah. And I don't know if Kolton knows either. Yeah, he is going to play it, and it is quickly challenged. Nice job by Kolton to know his hooks there. Yeah, so Zoil is going to come off, and that is a costly one. Understandable from Pete to try it, though. You're down by 80 points. You got to make something happen. So you try a word even if you're unsure of it. So Zoya does take the E, and we'll see if Kolton knows that. Because if he does, he's got some monster plays. Mercy is 59, for example. And it looks like he is, yeah. He's got Mercy lined up and ready to go. Yep, so Mercy is going to pretty much bury Pete here. He was already down by 80, and now we can make it almost 140. Another game that was really close until one phony, and it all swung all of a sudden. Last game was the same way.
It looks like Pete gave the 5-second hold of "I don't want it to be good, but it is."
Yeah. I thought we were going to have 2 of those. I thought Munge was going to be one of those too, but he actually gave him the 5 points for Munge. So word knowledge masterclass from Kolton in this game. Munge was nice. Knowing the correct and incorrect hooks on Zoaya was nice as well. And I think those 2 moments have really swung the game in his favor.
Absolutely.
So let's see here. Pete's still got that rack of 2 A's and 2 T's and whatnot. Sure what he can do with it. I guess it's the same as it was last turn. The best plays are still from the K. He's got Kalpa and Cattle. Looks like he's got a top lined up. Not sure. Yes, app total is still an option if you want to make up more phonies.
Again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you need to bingo multiple times for sure. So don't want to burn too many. We got 16 in the bag. 23 total tiles unseen to Pete. 16 in the bag is, not over. Still a little ways to go, but not the easiest board on which to bingo multiple times. Seeing another vote for QAT in the chat here. The chat likes the cat. I'm admiring Kolton and his very, very small scorebook. Like what he's holding in his hand there is like the world's smallest pad of paper. I don't know why he doesn't just use like regular sized paper, but he just has this really tiny thing. Maybe it's so he can carry his score sheets in his pocket. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't. I like the minimalist look. I don't think I could write that small and have it be legible.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe he's got really good small handwriting. I don't know. I see in chat they're checking the equity of the leave ALOPT. Apparently, it's worth about 4.5 points. I'm not sure what to make of that. I don't know what calculations Pete is making here.
Well, if he also wants to be able to set up the board to bingo twice, which
yeah,
we assume he has to do, then playing through the K would allow Kolton to make one play that blocks off all of those lines, and then he'd still have two lines. He'd have the hooks on OBE and whatever line was left over, but then that's kind of it. Playing Cot, you have that S hook, you have something involving the K, either the O above it or the A or the I underneath it or the O, and you have the OBE hooks. So that leaves you three separate lines that are hard to block simultaneously.
Very interesting. Yeah, Mike, I'm seeing a lot of support for your ideas here in chat as the cheering for QAT is starting to accelerate here. Several players in favor of QAT. Looks like Pete, though, is still unsure. He's holding the letters for Lotta. And that's not going to score a whole lot of points. It's only going to score 25 of them. Worth noting, though, that Kolton's drawn pretty terribly. 7 consonants, can't really do much with it. Meanwhile, Pete's kept his initials, PA. That's good luck when you keep your initials, right? You're like 10% more likely to bingo. Maybe the bot can calculate that. Kolton might have to exchange, and if he does, Pete will indeed bingo. He's drawn Opaline. So Kolton's going to trade 6, keeping just the S.
I have to say, Lotta wasn't on my radar as a potential play, but it's going to work out for Pete here. He's going to hit Opaline for 77, and we've got a 40-point game here.
Wow, yeah. It seemed pretty over, and now all of a sudden it's not. Updating the score now, it is Kolton 457 and Pete 420. It's a 37-point game. And we'll see what these players draw. Pete's drawn 6 consonants, but there's 6 interesting consonants. The unseen pool on your screen is not correct yet. I'm still waiting to see what Kolton draws before I can update that. But it does look pretty consonant heavy, depending. Yeah, so there are indeed no vowels in the bag. That is not good news for Pete. So there are 11 tiles total in the pool, which means 4 in the bag. And I'm trying to count what they are, but all the sideways tiles on Pete's rack are confusing me. Looks like both ends are still in the bag, and a D, and something else.
And the B, it looks like.
Right. There you go. So nothing that's going to help Pete with his already overly consonant heavy rack.
Right, so standard theory would say that Kolton should be looking to play 3 tiles here to bring the bag down to 1.
That makes sense. Yeah. Sometimes you play fewer tiles if you are worried about a bad draw in like a scary bag like this one that's got so many consonants in it. But I guess Kolton is vowel heavy enough that he doesn't have to worry about that. Yeah. I was seeing a question in chat about what does the words courtesy draw permitted mean. I can explain that for you. A courtesy draw is it doesn't have to do with a draw as in tying the game, not that. A courtesy draw is when somebody plays a word that you're unsure of the validity. It might be a phony. You're allowed to say hold, which means that they have to hold on drawing tiles until you decide to challenge or not challenge. And a courtesy draw just means that they are going to, as a courtesy, get to draw their tiles and look at them, even if the play has not officially been challenged or accepted yet. And there are different rules in different organizations in different countries around the world about when you can courtesy draw. Some people say it's after 15 seconds or 30 seconds or whatever, but basically a courtesy draw is just a way to look at your tiles while somebody's choosing whether to challenge you or not, if that makes any sense.
So it looks like it's lining up fur to go somewhere. One idea I saw was Mark, Marque, through
Ooh.
Yeah. Yes, it empties the bag, but you're not really worried about Pete bingoing here. And you have the S to hook it, and if he hooks the S, you have the S to hook that.
Marquez. Yeah, very nice. Let me just quickly check. It looks like bingoing is not impossible after Mark. There are 3 possible bingos in the pool that's seen by Kolton. He's got rebrands or rendangs through the A in Opaline, or he's got spreaden, Spredden, a really obscure word. Those are the only words possible from Kolton's perspective. And as we know, Pete does not actually have any of those on his rack in real life. All right, so fur is what Kolton actually plays.
And then with your Pete, are you willing to see? I guess you could fish the G with Erg, hoping to catch the A for Drapers. Am I remembering that right?
Drapers, that sounds like a word.
Yeah.
So the tile pool on your screen is correct, which means we know that the last tile in the bag is an N. And I think Pete is going to be sad when he sees that N. Whatever he's fishing for, it's not going to be an N. Actually, maybe it is. Can he fish for... No, he can't fish for rebrands or rendang. Wait, can he fish for rendangs? No, he can't. He has 2 R's. Yes, CBB in the chat points out that Kolton has the word beers, and I'm 100% sure that Kolton knows the word beers.
So
yeah, it looks like Pete is kind of looking at his options for like, what are my possible 1-tile fishes here?
the trouble is he would have to fish for something that Kolton couldn't block. So fishing for an S hook doesn't do a whole lot of good because either Kolton has the S and is going to block, or you draw the S and you don't have a bingo.
Yeah.
And I don't see a good way to fish for something that doesn't take an S, where the play you're making doesn't take an S hook.
Oof. Yeah, that would be a really specific play that is not likely to exist. Yeah. Ooh, CBB points out that you can play Erg, which fishes for Drapers in 2 different spots. That is cool. Yeah. Not going to work in reality, but a very nice idea from a theoretical standpoint, anyway. Tough game for Pete. I mean, it was close most of the way, but a couple of very nice plays by Kolton, playing Zoaya, knowing that it does not take an L and does take an E, and then getting Zoaya and Mercy. That was really the turning point.
Mm-hmm.
So Kolton, I believe Kolton and Dave were all alone in first place. If I can refresh my standings page here. Yeah, Kolton and Dave were the only 7 and 2s, which makes it even more exciting that we're going to watch those two players face each other in the next round.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Brad Whitmarsh lost in round 9, but then came back with a win in round 10. So he's 7 and 3. And Dave is currently on table 2. Or no, he's on table, table. I don't know what table. He's playing somebody somewhere.
Looks like he's up against Quinn James on
Aha.
what would be
Yeah.
a secondary feature table if we had 2 cameras.
Yeah. Well, we do have 2 cameras, but we would need 2 like entire setups with all the cameras and all the rigs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, no, we don't have that.
Yeah, that's not in the budget this year.
Oh God, no. Let me tell you. Anyway, question in chat of next round coming up or lunch break first. We can go through that now. Yeah. So we're having 4 game sessions, 4 games before lunch and 4 games after. And this is game number 2 of the session. So we have 2 more. We're going to have round 11 coming up is Dave against Kolton. And then round 12 after that is going to be 2 other players, TBD, and then lunch. So a couple more games coming at you real soon. Looking forward to watching Dave versus Kolton. That's going to be a fun one. 2 players with excellent word knowledge who are completely fearless. They'll play open boards and play lots of big, high-scoring words. And I think that makes for the best content for a stream, but your mileage may vary. Pete really taking his time.
Yeah, I was about to say the clock is becoming a factor here.
Yeah.
Looks like he might be realizing that none of the fishes are going to work, and he's just going to play the cut spread at this point.
Mm-hmm. Kolton has bandees lined up on his rack. Maybe Pete can win if Kolton plays a phony. But if Pete plays drag as he's lined up on his rack here, that's just a giving up kind of play. Stop trying to bingo and just get some spread points. Emunged does take a D for emunged. That probably doesn't matter, though. Okay, yeah, just drag underneath playing core. Okay. Why not? Of course, he's going to draw the end and have PNRS, which is probably not going to make him too happy. So Kolton just needs to not play bandees, and I think he'll be fine. Actually, he'll be fine even if he does play bandees. I think I think if he plays a phony, Pete can go out in 2 and win. The score on your screen is correct and up to date. It is 480 to 444. It's only a 36-point game, so a valid word would be well advised here for Kolton. Pick a valid word. Any valid word will do. Maybe Kolton will just let us stew in this tension of whether he's going to play bandees or not for the next 10 minutes or something. Or 7.5, as it were.
Yeah, I was going to say,
the 10 minutes without no problems. Yeah. Let's see what the actual best play is among words that are valid. Looks like he can play
bad or bad top open. of the ALI of Opaline.
The highest scoring play here is pretty cool. It's Beaned, Beaned, underneath core, making Cora and a bunch of other overlaps. But that's actually not the best play because it gives back stuff for Pete. Like he can play just the S for Cora as a 27.
Instead comes down the lovely B speed.
Ooh.
Which is going to
That
give him 5 extra.
Not a good idea, Kolton. Ooh.
It's a word.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
All right, shut up, Self. It's a word. I thought B-Feed was a phony. That's a just fine play, Kolton. Ignore my lecturing.
And it looks like he got the 5 extra points from it.
Well, that makes it even better. This is why I'm not playing. Don't know anything. B-Speed. Why is B-Speed a word? B-Speed, to help on. Well, I guess like to be-speed something is to kind of speed it up. Okay.
And I'm not seeing anything better than just PEARS through the EA on the right side.
That is indeed the best play.
And Kolton has his choice of places to go out.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing 13.
Another high-scoring game for Kolton. Wow. He's been putting up big numbers. 513 against Brad last round, and he's going to score over 500 again here against Pete. Just an awesome run so far for Kolton, who's going to improve to 8-2 for the tournament.
And comes down.
All right, so he does play Na. 13 and out for a final score of Kolton Koehler 534, Peter Armstrong 459. Nice win for Kolton, just racking up the numbers. He improves to 8-2, as I was saying, and he might be all alone in first place, depending on the result from Dave Wiegand, who is, I believe, still playing with Quinn James. But if Dave were to lose, then Kolton would be the only player at 8-2 all alone in first place. But in either event, it'll be Kolton and Dave in first and second place in some order, and they're going to face each other right here on table 1 in the next round. So don't go anywhere. That's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, wrapping up this one, just a nice win for Kolton. I think it really came down to that swing where he played Zoaya and then got the correct hook of the E instead of the L for the big play following it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not much to add, really. Just that swung the game, and then Kolton put it away from there.
Absolutely.
All right, so final score here, 534, 459. Kolton gets the win. We'll be back in a few minutes with Kolton versus Dave Wiegand here, round number 11, in just a little bit. So we'll talk to you soon.